and welcome to the third and final presidential debate. Tonight is going to be a lot like the third Lord of the Rings movie. You don't really want to watch, but hey, you've come this far.
Now, reports are that Trump is thinking about starting a Donald Trump TV network. Until now, this is good. Because until now, no, folks, it's vital, because until now, the only place you can see 24 hours of Donald Trump was CNN.
Maybe people would like Hillary more if she didn't get rid of 33,000 emails like she was Lorraine Bracco flushing coke at the end of Goodfellas. The only reason anybody would even have 33,000 emails is because they keep all their emails, and getting rid of them all at one time is like going to a hoarder's apartment and it's suddenly empty and smells like bleach, and they're like, what 33,000 cats? I don't know.
Congratulations to the Chicago Cubs, who just defeated the Dodgers to reach the World Series for the first time in 71 years. Oh, man, another outcome rigged by Hillary Clinton. Just...
Headlines and punchlines with a pretty big dose of Saturday Night Live right there. The election now 15 days away. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton hitting the campaign trail hard. Over the weekend, Mr. Trump laid out what he's calling now a contract with the American voter. Here's a portion of what he had to say.
President Lincoln served in a time of division like we've never seen before. It is my hope that we can look at his example to heal the divisions we are living through right now. We are a very divided nation.
Donald Trump giving that speech in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, thus the reference to Abraham Lincoln, and thus the popular name for Mr. Trump's speech, the Trump Gettysburg Address. Let's discuss that and some other things. Joining me here on the Anchor Desk, Newsmax TV political analyst Dick Morris. Dick, of course, the New York Times best-selling author of the book Armageddon: How Trump Can Beat Hillary. Got to tell you, Dick, we cannot avoid looking at poll numbers right now, since everybody's more than casually interested. The latest LA Times Southern Cal tracking poll has Mrs. Clinton now with a 1-point lead, 45-44. The ABC News tracking poll has her up by 12. Quinnipiac has her up by 6. And the average of polls from Real Clear Politics has a 6-point advantage for Mrs. Clinton. So, obviously, she is doing well in those polls, but you have some wisdom and counsel when it comes to all of this.
There are some other polls. Rasmussen has Trump ahead by 2, and Investors Business Daily has Trump ahead by 1. So the question is, which poll is right? And the real answer is you don't know yet. It's impossible to know yet, because they're all based on assumptions about turnout. And when you have some groups that are voting almost unanimously for Hillary, like blacks, turnout is a huge deal. In the past, in 2000, blacks were 10% of the vote. In 2004, they were 11% of the vote. In 2008 and 2012, they were 13% of the vote. And there's no real change in the proportion of population that's African American. So which will it be? You just don't know. We do know that blacks say they are less enthusiastic by 27% than they were in 2012. If based on that, you get 3 points less black turnout, so it's 10 instead of 13, that's 3 points right off of Hillary onto Trump. It's a 6-point switch. And young people say they're 10 points less enthusiastic than in 12. And that would be a 4-point switch, and that would mean ABC would show them even. So we don't know until we can actually tell turnout. Remember, polling is very good at telling you how people will vote, but it's very bad at telling you whether they're going to vote, because they don't even know themselves.
Now, the Investors Business Daily Tip with an extra P poll is the one that has the credit for, being the most accurate poll last time out. And as we check that daily tracking poll, here it is, a dead heat. Now, what are the folks doing in terms of methodology at IBD that suggests they have some accuracy? Are they staying with the same core group and tracking that group?
Well, there are two key things that could be going on. First is their assumptions on turnout may reflect the decreasing turnout of Hillary's base. The second thing is that much of their polling is online. And since the average interviewer is female and is very often a minority member, there's a feeling that people may be reluctant to tell her that they're for Trump, whereas TRUMP on a computer keyboard, they have no problem doing.
Well, however the results are gleaned, it is up to the campaigns to make the best case and to move forward. And as we see and as we heard this weekend, Kellyanne Conway admitted that the Trump campaign is obviously down in most polls, but she insists that Donald Trump is not out of this. Here's what she said on Sunday television.
We feel that with Hillary Clinton under 50% in some of these places, even though she has run a very traditional and expensive campaign, that we have a shot of getting those undecided voters that somehow have said, I know who Hillary Clinton is, I don't want to vote for her, I don't much trust her, like her. We need to bring them aboard over the next couple of weeks.
And so we have that from Kellyanne yesterday on Meet the Press. And then I get an email this morning, which I think is a blast out to, quite frankly, solicit funds. And it says, here is our electoral map to victory. And they put it up, and I believe we have it right now. And you see what they're saying. Yeah, there's those undecided states, including Pennsylvania and Ohio, but they include North Carolina in that group. They paint Arizona red. You take a look at that map, Dick. Can you make a case for that?
Well, yeah, I think that it might be a little far-fetched to put Minnesota as an up-for-grabs state, but I do think Ohio has shown more Republican leanings than in the past. You just need to wait and see how this evolves. There's another phenomenon that's really important and really hard to understand. Downscale voters, those who are less educated, make up their minds later. Just ask yourself, when do you do your Christmas shopping? If you're a guy like we are, you probably do it December 24th. Your wife probably does hers in September and October. So your wife's like an upscale, intelligent voter. You can reach her the campaign in September and October and November. But we're like dumbbells. You have to hit us the day or 2 days before the election. And until then, we're not decided. We aren't focusing on our Christmas shopping. Downscale voters are overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. And the voters that come into this electorate at the end are going to be downscale voters who are heavily for Trump. They've never been heavily for one party or the other. They've usually split about evenly with the rest of the country. Trump has changed that, and that's another factor to keep in mind.
Well, let's return to what transpired on Saturday as I saw Donald Trump step to the podium and saw him offer his, quote, contract with American voters. I was flashing back to something that happened 22 years ago on the west front of the Capitol with House Republicans. At any rate, let's go back to Saturday in Gettysburg and listen to some of what Mr. Trump had to say.
I am asking the American people to dream big once again. What follows is my 100-day action plan to make America great again. It's a contract between Donald J. Trump and the American voter, and it begins with bringing honesty, accountability, and change to Washington, D.C.
And 6 of the 10 items, Dick, include these, and I think we have them on the screen. Number 1, an imposition of congressional term limits. That would require a constitutional amendment. Actually, we see a little different stuff here on the screen. And what we have here are the first 7: renegotiate NAFTA or get out of that deal, get out of the TPP, label China a currency manipulator, identify and end all foreign trading abuses that unfairly impact American workers. Number 5, lift restrictions on the production of American energy reserves. Number 6, allow energy infrastructures like that Keystone Pipeline to move forward. Number 7, cancel payments to UN climate change programs. Use that money to fix America's water and environmental infrastructure. And then you get to the term limits. But let's come on out. And you want to talk about this environmental situation?
Yeah. On that last one, Hillary has pledged $100 billion of foreign aid to underdeveloped countries to compensate them for their efforts to stop climate change. The theory is that they are industrializing and they should be able to pollute like we were when we were industrializing. So this is a payment in lieu of pollution. And in fact, it's going to go right into their Swiss bank accounts. And the reason that we're doing it, that they're doing it, is to buy their support in the UN for climate change initiatives so that they'll have a majority. There's one other thing that Trump is proposing that is
We've got about 30 seconds, Dick.
When Clinton took office, he said, if you work for the executive branch, you can't lobby for 5 years after you leave. And he was hailed for that. When Clinton left office, he rescinded that, said you could do it tomorrow. Now Trump is saying reimpose that. And the guy who got it rescinded was John Podesta, who is Hillary's chief lobbyist and campaign manager.
And the source of so many interesting emails via WikiLeaks. Dick Morris, it is so good that we don't depend on email leaks with you, that you come right here and give us the straight story. We appreciate it very much. We'll have more of your calls and take a look at this day in history, all a part of the program called what? America Talks Live. And we continue on Newsmax TV after this.